Experience more profitable end-to-end inventory management, pricing precision with real shopper data, efficient sourcing aligned to your strategy, AI-powered vehicle descriptions that save time and drive engagement. Experience more with vAuto by Cox Automotive.
Hey, this is Daily Drive executive producer Jake Neer in Detroit. Thanks so much for joining me for this bonus episode of the show. At the New York International Auto Show earlier this month, Kia confirmed two major product announcements. The EV3 compact electric SUV is coming to the U.S., and the redesigned Seltos will offer a hybrid powertrain for the first time. Our own Lindsay Van Holy spoke with Russell Wager, Kia's Vice President of Marketing, about these announcements, the brand's multi-powertrain strategy, and what rising gas prices mean for EV and hybrid demand. Today, we're bringing you that conversation with Wager, who explains how Kia is giving customers more choices across the electrification spectrum.
Russell Wager, welcome to Daily Drive.
Thank you very much for having me.
So today, Kia showed the EV3,
Yes.
confirmed for the U.S. and it's available elsewhere, but it's coming here.
Yes.
Talk about that vehicle and just what that's going to mean for the brand and having an EV at that price point.
Yeah, so it shows to everybody that we are committed to the electric market. We've already got EV6, we got EV9. We brought that manufacturing to West Point, Georgia. So that's a commitment. We've got the Nero EV, and this now brings another space that we hadn't had an EV in, and making it more attainable. So we see it as an entry point for people that want to get into the EVs, and maybe eventually move up and through others. So it's a great opportunity for us.
I know the pricing's not announced yet, but the announcement said that it's going to be the most attainable electric model in the lineup.
Yes.
Talk about that, I guess, and the importance of that, especially now without the tax credit that has helped offset some of that purchase price up front. Is that affordability, that entry price point, is that even more important now for some buyers than it was maybe even 6 months ago?
I think so, but at the same time, our EV6 is, at the 40,000 range. Our EV9 is at the higher 49, 50,000, and this ideally will be coming in under the 40,000 range. So it gives a whole nother set. It's another cliff that somebody doesn't have to go over. So now they can put it on the consideration list of like, hey, I was thinking about it, but I can't find something that I want. It's an SUV, so it gives people, that want an SUV, but now the option on the EV side. It helps complete the choice that people have in our lineup.
And do you see it then, is there enough space, I guess, out there in the market where it's still small enough in that segment where, coming in with the EV3 might give you a good share of the market or a competitive differentiation from the others that are out there?
So definitely we wouldn't bring it here if we didn't think it was going to help. It's doing well in other parts of the globe where it's on sale, so that's encouraging. And the market used to be 10% electric, right? Now it's down to 4%. We don't think it's going to stay at 4% forever. We don't think it's tomorrow going to go up to 10%, but just recently, global events have made people's interest in EVs spike again, right? So we see it growing, and we're just going to give another choice for somebody that hasn't maybe thought about EVs in a while, and now is. They're probably thinking about HEVs, but now they have this other option. And yeah, I think it's a little bit of a white space. There's not too many offerings in it.
Are you working on any kind of specific promotional campaigns for it, or how you want to introduce it to the U.S. market here?
Yeah, so this one, again, is a very specific audience, right? Not everyone's considering EVs, so I don't need to put it on a Super Bowl spot. I don't need to put it in NBA finals. I got to be a little bit more targeted, so our promotional efforts will be, getting people to experience it. So we try to do ride and drive so people can experience EVs, because there's still a lot of people that don't understand it. So that's one. And then the second one is we'll do a lot of digital and social targeting efforts so that we can talk to the right people that might be the best buyer for it.
So really just it's more the experiential piece, getting people actually in behind the wheel and to try it out.
Yes.
So the other big reveal today was the North American debut of the redesigned Seltos,
Yes.
Also at the entry level, just on the internal combustion side. What do you think about that vehicle and kind of where it sits and how important that's going to be to have that right there at the entry crossover spot in your lineup?
So the really good thing we're excited about is we also brought a new powertrain in the hybrid, right? So now it's in a gas and a hybrid. So again, choices. And it completes our SUV lineup that now if somebody's looking for a hybrid, they have Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, Telluride. All of them have a hybrid option. All of them have a gas option. And, people's minds change as to how much they want to pay a little bit of a premium for a hybrid, of course. But now with gas prices averaging over $4 a gallon nationwide, more people are considering that, just like more people are considering EVs. And it's got a great design that somebody that might want a Telluride but doesn't need 3 rows, this car looks like it belongs with Telluride, just a smaller version. So we heard a lot about that in our clinics, that they thought it was a mini Telluride.
Oh, really? And so now having that hybrid option then makes that, maybe brings in people who would be looking for that otherwise might not have been as interested in it. And now it has one, maybe it gets them to take a look.
I think it does. It opens up to another audience in the segment, in addition to the gas audience. And, we sold a little over 60,000 of them last year. With the next powertrain, we're looking to grow. Not going to talk about a specific number, but looking to grow. And I think it's going to help us do that.
Running a dealership today isn't just about finding the right cars. It's about finding the right cars consistently, efficiently, and at the right price, while the market keeps shifting around you. Inventory management has become more complex. Vehicles come from more sources, margins are tighter, and every buying decision carries more risk than it used to. Yet, too often, inventory decisions are still made with fragmented data, disconnected tools, and limited visibility into what's actually working. The most successful dealerships are approaching inventory differently. They're managing it as a system, not a series of one-off decisions. They're looking at market data, demand signals, pricing, and acquisition opportunities together, so every move is more informed and more intentional. When inventory is managed end-to-end, teams spend less time reacting and more time acting. They can see what's selling, what's stalling, and where the next opportunity is coming from. That clarity helps reduce aging, improve turn, and protect profitability. The right vehicles are out there. The difference is having a smarter, more connected way to find them, price them, and move them. Learn how dealerships are rethinking inventory management with vAuto, and what a more confident, data-driven approach can do for your business.
The NTSB is digging deeper into fatal crashes involving Ford's Blue Crews. On this week's episode of the Automotive News Shift podcast, I'm joined by Kristen Poland, Deputy Director of the NTSB's Office of Highway Safety.
When a crash does occur, what's our awareness of these types of systems? Because we're seeing those differences across the manufacturers.
We talk about why the agency is investigating the 2024 Blue Crews crashes, including what's different about regulating hands-free Level 2 and how camera-based driver monitoring was inadequate in these cases. I'm Molly Boygon. Join me on Shift, available this Sunday, wherever you get your podcasts.
You talked about the Telluride too. The hybrid of that is being introduced right at the time that hybrid interest generally is just growing. And talk about that, I guess, and kind of how you're thinking about that, how you're positioning, and how you're going to go to market with that one too. Are there any kinds of promotional messages and campaigns that you want to get out there in that regard?
Yeah. So Telluride. First of all, the X Pro version gas is doing great, and we made it even more capable and gave it front recovery tow hooks and 9.1 ground clearance, and that's great. And in the hybrid, usually when you're talking about a hybrid, you have a trade-off. So people most of the time are going for a hybrid because they want fuel economy and range, right? But in order to get that, usually you lose power. This Telluride hybrid gets the best of both worlds. It has more than 70 horsepower than our outgoing V6 on our previous generation. It gets up to 35 miles per gallon. So there's no sacrificing in this one. And it can do what you want SUVs to do. Maybe you're not going to do rock crawling over it, but it can do pretty much everything. Take you to the campsites, take you long journeys. And I think consumers have been looking for that from our Telluride. It might be the one area that we hadn't tapped yet, even though it was great demand for the previous generation. Once again, now choices.
The idea of like customer choices and the multi-powertrain strategy, does that help you when you go to market with customers? Is it, that you're giving them options, that there's almost like a bridge now to electrification, right? You have your gas engines, your hybrids. There's been talk of EREV technology, full electric. How does that change kind of how you go to market with customers, or the messages that you send them, or kind of how you think about promoting that lineup across that spectrum?
And I think the key word you used right there is the lineup. So we are not just offering one electric vehicle or one hybrid. We have a full lineup of them now. So besides the SUVs I talked about in the HEV, we've got the Carnival hybrid as well. We've got the Nero hybrid. So we've got a full lineup. And I think that when people see that you have that many choices, it's like, wait a second, if they're offering that many options, maybe I should consider this. So as before, people are very comfortable in gas, and there it is. And then there's the early adopters going to EV. And now it's like you're no longer an early adopter. You're part of the mainstream. Whether it's a hybrid or an EV, there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of proven stories that they're good products, and there should be nothing to be feared about. So I think this is going to help grow our hybrid mix as a percentage of our overall sales.
When you're talking about that kind of multi-powertrain strategy and really getting customers across that lineup, I'm thinking too about just the used EVs that are coming, with a lot of the off-lease vehicles that are going to be returning to the market. Do you see an opportunity there as a brand to help as another even entry point for customers? Do you expect a lot of them to come back, first of all, this year? And do you see it as a way to get consumers who haven't tried an EV before into one?
Yeah, so a lot of the brands, including us, leased a lot of our EVs. It helped with the tax credit elements, getting more people to have that. And yes, when they come back, it's another. I'm going to look at it in our discussions as it's another trim, right? So I talked about our EV9 being at the high 40s, 50 starting, our EV6 at 40. This car ideally coming in under 40, and now we have used EVs that maybe they're in the 20s. So it's another way of getting people into the electrified space. And they get to also see one of their concerns, battery degradation, right? People are always like, what happens? I got an iPhone, after 2 years, the battery's not. But our products have the 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty, including on the battery. So we take that one away, and now all of a sudden you just have a less expensive option. It's 1 to 2 years new, and I think it'll bring more people into the market.
It's an interesting mix and kind of scenario, right? Because obviously that is an entry point for people. They're gently used, probably haven't been driven that far, maybe a couple of years old. But then it seems like it could also potentially put pressure on the new EVs too. If you have the same model, maybe a few years newer, how do you find the right balance between selling a new one and selling a used version, maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe 3 years at most old?
One helps the other, right? So right now, let's take Telluride, the outgoing Telluride model. It's got an extremely high residual value. So even a 2-year-old one, so to speak, retained its value. So it's not dragging down the new price of the 2027 that just came out. It's actually helped propping it up. And we see that in a lot of our models. So that, for now, is working in our favor.
And so you'd think that would continue?
Yes.
And so that way the new EV price is not as, or the ability to sell the new EV is not as challenged.
The only challenge that happens is if somebody got the $7,500 tax credit, they don't get it now. So there's that difference. And us and other OEMs have to make up a portion of that. So we're trying to make it so there's not that much of a gap on the old versus new, just because of that. It has nothing to do really with the residual value elements. Government's not giving $7,500 anymore.
Kia Vice President of Marketing Russell Wager spoke with our own Lindsay Van Hully at the New York International Auto Show. Thanks for listening to this bonus episode of Daily Drive. We'll be back on Monday with a brand new full episode of the show.